Hi everybody, I'm Rook. Welcome to the table. So we've had a chance to use the Trials of the Kingdom booster box. We've opened the cards, had a chance to build some decks and playtest some stuff, and I think that I'm about ready to give my top 5 cards of this pack. Definitely the top 5 that I think shook up the meta just enough to keep it interesting here with Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel. So I'm going to get right into it. I wanted to start, of course, with honorable mentions. So the last box I did top 10. I did narrow it down to top 5 for this box, but got to keep the honorable mentions. I just have a couple of those that I didn't find a spot in the top 5 for, but I just wanted to shout them out because I think they need a little love. So just a couple of those before we get started. Honorable mention, SASUKE Samurai. I definitely wanted to shout this card out just because of its side deck value. I feel like putting this in the side deck is really, really great. SASUKE Samurai is at the start of the damage step. This card attacks a face-down defense position monster. Destroy that face-down monster. This can be really good depending on what kind of deck you're playing. If you're playing against Blade Knights that sets Command Knight, say they set Command Knight first turn, right? You're going to bump into it. It's 1900 defense. That usually catches people off guard, or they want to set it because they're trying to set up the field. SASUKE Samurai will be able to be summoned and destroy that, no questions asked, of course, unless your opponent happens to have a kunai with chain or something that deflects attacks. So SASUKE Samurai really good at shutting down stall decks. Think about Maneater Bug, Blast Sphere, Yomi Ship. SASUKE Samurai will destroy all of those. It's a 500 attack, 800 defense monster. In fact, after your Samurai destroys a face down, he is kind of sitting out there. So that's just one of the downsides. It's a really weak monster that sits out there, but sometimes you really, really need that value to get rid of what's face down in front of you. So SASUKE Samurai, good honorable mention. Next honorable mention wanted to be Floodgate Trap Hole. Floodgate Trap Hole did not make the top 5, but wanted to mention it just because it is a meta shaker. Floodgate Trap Hole, when your opponent summons a monster, change that monster to face down defense position. Monsters changed to face down defense position by this effect cannot change their battle positions. This is shutting down Serpent Knight Dragon, Gravekeeper's Oracle, etc. Big monsters that have effects when they come out, like Gravekeeper's Oracle or Serpent Knight that needs to be just present for the Nightmare Sonic Blast to go on. Floodgate Trap Hole will shut it down. So Floodgate Trap Hole gives you some options to deal with decks like that, and we do see it being used in some stall decks right now. The goal being to floodgate your opponent's monsters just to fill the 3 monster slots and then decking the opponent out. So Floodgate Trap Hole has introduced itself, certainly, and is definitely not going away in the current meta. It is absolutely there and present, and it shuts down some good decks right now, and of course annoys the crap out of you. So way to go, Floodgate Trap Hole. And last honorable mention, I just wanted to mention the Flint and Flintlock duo. Those guys are fantastic because there's a lot of good deck opportunities with them. Of course, they are 2 cards and they work really well together. Flint is the equip card. The equipped monster loses 300 attack and they can't change its battle position or declare an attack. And if this card is destroyed because the equipped monster is destroyed, you target a monster on the field and equip the card to that monster. So Flint at face value, minus 300 attack to your opponent's monster. That is sometimes all you need to beat over it, which is great, but then you got to watch out because Flint's going to equip to you. Well, Flintlock welcomes Flint equipping to it because Flintlock is actually able to ignore Flint's conditions. In fact, once per turn while Flintlock's on the field, you can target a Flint in the spell and trap zone and equip it to this card. During your main phase, you can target a Flint equipped to the card, and one face-up monster on the field, except this card, equip that Flint to the targeted monster. So basically, while Flintlock's on the field, you can bounce Flint around as you see fit. Maybe your opponent has an empty board and you have Flintlock down, so you're just holding the Flint for right now. Then they bring out something scary, you can bounce Flint to it. So Flintlock is really good. Also, Flintlock, of course, ignoring Flint's conditions, it is able to attack and change its battle position. It doesn't lose any attack, and actually it can't be destroyed by battle while it's equipped to Flint. So Flintlock, really good synergy there that opens up some deck options. I'm currently using one with Spellproof Armor because it is a machine, and it works really well with that. So I really like Flintlock. Way to go. Number 5, Share the Pain. Something that when I saw it, I thought, okay, I like this idea, and they brought this into the Speed Duel world, but I feel like it's not going to be used that often. I was totally wrong. I am seeing this card everywhere. This is surprisingly a good option to deal with boss monsters, of course. Share the Pain, depending on what you have in your deck. If your opponent just got out their Serpent Knight or the Gravekeeper's Oracle or something else that's huge and scary, you really can put anything out and then Share the Pain. And they have to, if it's their only monster, they have to tribute it. So the only bad thing about Share the Pain is that you have to choose the tribute, so you can't pick which monster your opponent's going to tribute. The card is to tribute one monster, make your opponent tribute one monster for no effect. So your opponent will be able to pick the tribute contribute. But if your opponent's running a deck that has just one large boss monster and the goal is to just keep that one monster out to keep running the field, Share the Pain works very well. And you can easily combo this with cards that enjoy going to the graveyard and activating the graveyard. I mean, Aquatic is not very meta right now, but there are a lot of cards that activate well in the graveyard for Aquatic. Even cards like Black Terra, which also came in the set, is a good example of how if you actually Share the Pain with Black Terra will be able to go back to your hand. So that's really good. So Share the Pain is just really quick and easy way to deal with large boss monsters. It's definitely sideable, but some people are main decking this right now. You know, just to mix it up, definitely just a way of, wow, this is a monster that's just insurmountable attack. How do I get over this? My deck isn't really equipped to deal necessarily without siding heavily against monsters with like 4,000 plus attack. Share the Pain is a good answer there because you're just ditching a monster to get rid of it. Number 4, Haunted Shrine. Definitely my personal favorite right now in the Trials of the Kingdom booster set. Haunted Shrine, I built zombies just for this, and that is what I'm using currently. I thought the zombies were pretty good already with King of the Skull Servants, but I'm actually not using King of the Skull Servants. I'm using Ectoplasmic Fortification. I tried some Zombie Master, but I'm sticking with Ecto. Haunted Shrine, it's so great just because it's so annoying. You always keep a zombie presence with Haunted Shrine. Absolutely 100%. Haunted Shrine is if you control no monsters, you target a zombie monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Okay, there's your Zombina back. If you have a Zombina and then, I don't know, a double Costin in your graveyard, and you have Haunted Shrine set, your opponent tries to attack you. You flip Haunted Shrine, you get Zombina back, they have to beat over Zombina, Zombina gets Costin back, they have to beat over Costin. If I have Ectoplasmic Fortification building, then these monsters are probably closer to 2,000 attack at that point. That is super annoying for your opponent to deal with. If your opponent is able to get through that, then Haunted Shrine activates again in the graveyard. Once again, if you control no monsters and the cards in the graveyard, you can actually banish it to bring a monster or a zombie monster back to the field. So there's Zombina again into double cost, and it just keeps going. And I've found that it's a really good stall tactic. I'm trying to stay away from stalling. I do like being really aggressive with the zombie decks, but Haunted Shrine is just amazing, amazing support to branch out into different zombie deck types. Right now, we really only saw maybe 2 deck types before this pack. We saw King of the Skull Servants, which was meta, and then we saw maybe some sort of Ectoplasmic Fortification. But Haunted Shrine kind of branches it off where you can build Ectoplasmic Fortification, you can build a Zombie Master, you can put it in King of the Skull Servants, it would work really well there, or you could build some sort of stall deck. And of course, Haunted Shrine works with Zombina, so if you have a deck, maybe not zombies at all, but you have 3 Zombina, or 2 at least, a Haunted Shrine, just put that in there, it's gonna work for you. So Haunted Shrine, number 4. Number 3, Waking the Dragon. I don't know what to say about this one. This one, when we saw that this was in the pack, our minds exploded. Like, does anyone have Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragons and Arcana Knight Jokers? Because everybody's running an extra deck now. Waking the Dragon opened up the extra deck for so many decks that didn't even think about using it. You really don't see extra decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel right now. You see Ryu Senshi, Arcana Knight Joker, Meteor B, Blue Eyes Ultimate. That's it. And you're rarely going to see those actually fusion summoned or come out or even played in a meta deck. There's no meta decks that involve those right now, but Waking the Dragon turns that around because you know what's meta right now? Night Beam and Dust Tornado. Waking the Dragon makes it a threat. Your opponent is now going to be afraid to target it because Waking the Dragon is an option. So Waking the Dragon, if this set card in its owner's control has left the field because of an opponent's effect and it's now in the graveyard or banished, I like that, or banished, you can special summon 1 monster from your deck or extra deck. So Waking the Dragon's a trap. It's just bait to be hit by the Night Beam or the Dust Tornado. You can tech this in any deck, I'm telling you. I've teched it in every deck so far, and I have woken the dragon a couple times. So it says you can special summon 1 monster from your deck or extra deck. So you could special summon, I don't know, Magician of Black Chaos. We actually saw somebody that had Magician of Black Chaos in their deck just to wake them. I'm personally going to special summon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon because it's the biggest beater in Speed Duel right now, and it's super hard to get out normally. That's like a 4,500 attack monster. And Arcana Knight Joker is great to get out too. That's 3,800 attack, I believe. And of course, its effect's amazing where you can drop a card of the same type to the graveyard to negate anything that targets it. So there's really some good options. Even the 1,000 dragon. What is it? The Alligator Sword Dragon is good because they can attack directly. There are just so many options that Waking the Dragon opens up for you that no deck was gonna be ready to have that as a tool. So Waking the Dragon is really great because obviously you usually play against somebody with magic removal. You think about, I mean, we have a lot of magic removal now at this point with Dust Tornado, Night Beam, Double Cyclone just came out, I believe Twister's face up. But anyway, Waking the Dragon is really good because of all the magic removal. Amazoness Sage, Harpies Honeygrab, who am I kidding? We don't see Harpies anymore. But still, good options. good to scare your opponent. Even I found that if I have Waking the Dragon in my first game, right, and then I side it out the second game, so I don't have any Waking the Dragons in the second game, I still have the extra deck there. My opponent still thinks I have Waking the Dragon, so they still feel like they have to play around it, which is like just really good mind games. Waking the Dragon has definitely opened that kind of play style up and just that kind of extra level of thinking when you're playing your opponent. So Waking the Dragon, really great card, coming in at number 3. Number 2. Don Zalug, the Don, has slid into number 2 because it is introducing a new card effect that you see a little bit in Speed Duel, but it's really not meta at all. But it'd be really, really great to see this again, because now it's just another thing you have to try and play around and something for your opponent to think about. So Don Zalug is a very viable warrior that you can put into your Blade Knight deck. You can put it into some sort of Amazonas or even a Tribal Synergy deck, just because I think the effect is very good and it can really help you get a huge advantage over your opponent if it works out for you. So it's a 1400 attack, 1500 defense warrior, but when the card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can activate one of these effects. You can either discard a random card for their hand or send the top 2 cards of their deck to the graveyard. I personally like this because of the discard 1 random card from their hand. We do not see really good discard effects in the Speed Duel format right now. The only good discard effect before Don Zalug was Decayed Commander Zombie Tiger, and you don't see that. You just don't. So Don Zalug is something that comes in and, hey, you can actually put this, you can tech this into your Blade Knight deck. Command Knight's going to buff that to 1800, which can beat over most other monsters, and you just have to do battle damage. If it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can activate that effect. It's a 4-star monster, so you can get it right out. You can throw the Bashing Shield on it, Sword of Dragon Soul. It is a warrior, so a lot of equip cards work there just to get that battle damage, because the discard effects are so great, and if you snag the Sphere Karibo, then that's fantastic for you. So I like how it opened up more options to discard, and also the booster pack kind of played around with itself, because Don Zalug opens up a good meta discard effect, and then you also see the Despair from the Dark card, which is if it's discarded by your opponent from your hand, you can special summon it. So now it's just a bunch of different levels and kind of opening up the Speed Duel format to be susceptible to discard effects, but then also something else for your opponent to play around. It's like reverse psychology as you try and play around this. Now, Despair from the Dark, not really going to be run too often by just about anybody. Really, it's going to be in zombie decks because I believe it is a zombie monster, but Don Zalug is going to be able to pretty much just loom this power over any deck that it plays. Number 1. Parasite Paranoid. You know, they made a whole starter deck around insects. Not many people knew that because it was bad. It was not meta. There were a lot of good options there. Somebody who really, really wanted to play insects would still play it. You'd see that one person at locals playing the insect deck, but it just was not viable. Nothing was working for it. It was slow. So insects, even though they had a whole structure deck after them, it died off quickly, wasn't even mentioned in the meta. But Parasite Paranoid, combined with its counterpart Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, which also came out in this pack, I believe that's going to change the meta to make insects pretty good. Parasite Paranoid is an amazing quick effect insect effect monster that's going to bring insects back from the brink of death. The quick effect is you can target a face-up monster on the field and equip this card from your hand to that target. So it is a equip effect, so you can even do that on your opponent's turn. The equipped monster becomes an insect monster, amazing. Can't attack insect monsters, okay. So if you have all insect monsters on the field because you're playing insects, Parasite Paranoid, great hand trap that saves you from being attacked. Also, your opponent's monster's effects that activate by targeting an insect monster are negated. So that's amazing. Another good effect from Parasite that's going to shut your opponent down. Now, you can only use the effect of Parasite Paranoid once per turn, but you're usually only going to use it once per turn, and if this equipped card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one level 7 or higher insect monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. So if you have the big bugs in your hand and this thing gets destroyed, maybe they got some magic removal, they just like, get this off of me, please. I'm going to send this to the graveyard. If you have the right cards in your hand, you're going to get a huge insect monster out, and that's going to just turn the game around for you. Parasite Paranoid, I did mention, pairs well with the Cocoon of Ultra Evolution because you contribute one insect monster from either field equipped with an equipped card with Cocoon of Ultra Evolution. And if you do that, you can special summon an insect monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So you think about it. You equip Parasite Paranoid to your opponent's monster, and then, sucks to be you, I'm going to Cocoon of Ultra Evolution and destroy your monster because Parasite's on it. I'm going to be able to summon an insect monster from my deck, special summon one insect monster, so I have the biggest bug there is out there, and I'm going to ignore its summoning conditions. I'm going to get it right out there. There are some other great insects out there with good costs and good effects, so you can really just play around with what you want to summon out, but you can easily just go for the big guys if you want. And you have a couple ways to do it, and Parasite Paranoid opens up that gate for you. By equipping your opponent's monster, you can not only destroy theirs, but special summon the best one you have. And then, of course, Parasite Paranoid, if your opponent's able to get the jump on you and destroy it early, you can special summon a level 7 or higher insect monster from your hand, provided you had it in your hand. So there's a couple good ways to use this, and even if you're bricking a little bit with the big monsters in the hand, the Parasite Paranoid may still be able to save you there. So really viable, very, very flexible card. I think the insects would want to run 3 of these, definitely, just to get that chance up and get those insects out. Because the insect deck, I think, is definitely moving towards getting the big bugs out with the help of Parasite Paranoid, Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, and just knowing the crap out of your opponent. So Parasite Paranoid, I think the biggest shakeup from the booster pack, bringing insects back into the meta, hopefully. Hasn't really been established yet, but I think that this is a huge option for insects to finally, like I said, who got their own structure deck, but not being used in the meta, to come back and make a huge difference. So Parasite Paranoid, #1 for me. And the most nostalgic card goes to the Gyrochin Kuwagata. I don't know why I had so many insect cards as a kid, but they were everywhere. I don't know what pack I bought, but I had a lot of bugs, and Gyrochin Kuwagata was another one where I just remember it's just so creepy looking. I just remember having them everywhere, and I never understood what it was holding. It looked like a stack of quarters to me when I was a kid, but now that I look closer, it's a screw. It's a screw because behind it is the screw head. Oh, that makes sense. So its pincher snapped off the screw. I get it. Okay, cool. Well, Gyrochin Kuwagata is my most nostalgic card. Also not a bad beater in this set. I mean, it's 1700 attack insect monster. At the sneak peek, if you had these in your deck, it was a sealed tournament. If you had these 1700 attack, that's a huge advantage because there was no other card that was 1700 or higher. Everything else was like 1600. So Gyrochin Kuwagata, most nostalgic. Alright everybody, and that was my top 5 cards of the Trials of the Kingdom booster set. We have a lot more coming out. We were able to get a lot of content with some live duels recorded, and definitely made some new decks, so you can see those coming down the pipe as well. But of course guys, if you like this video, please feel free to hit the like button and subscribe for more. We are making more stuff, so I hope to catch you guys later. See ya!